Mindset. I'm Molly Carmel, and this is the podcast I always wish existed. A bite-sized, on-the-ground, spiritual note that can shift your thinking and your outlook on life to help make us all a little bit more awake, alive, and ascending. So today I want to talk about something I heard on a podcast over Christmas that I literally cannot stop thinking about, and what it revealed about how I really torture myself with overthinking. I hope it's helpful to you too. So, okay, let's start here. If you're not listening to Amy Poehler's Good Hang podcast, what are you even doing? It's so good. I'm obsessed with it. It's just joyful and I laugh and it's easy and it's amazing and it's smart and it's engaging. I don't know. I mean, I would do anything Amy Poehler told me to do. So I guess you have to take that into consideration as you're listening to this recommendation. I really, really trust her. So over Christmas, podcasts are sparse, and she had Ana Gasteyer on it. And I wasn't like, oh my God, I can't wait to listen to this. But, you know, I just was like, okay, I'll listen because it's Amy. And let me tell you something. Thank goodness I did, because Ana Gasteyer told a story on this episode of Good Hang that has been living in my head rent free ever since, but like in the best way possible. So Ana Gasteyer is talking about how she played Elphaba in Wicked. I think she did the role in Chicago. Maybe she did it on Broadway. Not important to the story. But if you know anything about Elphaba, you know it is a vocally demanding part. And if you don't know that, go listen to the song Defying Gravity and you'll understand what I'm talking about. That song is a beast and incredible and infuses my soul, and I love it. I'm a real wicked person. I feel like I have to tell you that. Anyway, Anna described herself. I don't know if she said she was a real perfectionist about it, but she really described perfectionism to a core, because she described that she would come off stage after a show and really be analyzing her work night after night after night. Was that one better than last night? Could tomorrow be tighter? Where could I improve? And interestingly, I think she thought of it as part of her job, which in many ways it is. In many ways, it's a part of all of our jobs, right? To try to do better. But she was constantly in this maybe mildly obsessive cycle of evaluation, really obsessing over every performance, trying to figure out which was the best one, trying to reproduce that, just trying to like crack the code of a perfect show. And then someone on the production team, I think like a stage manager or a producer, and I think it was not allowed, secretly recorded about 20 of her performances and gave it to her so that she could listen back to them. And here's the part. Here's the part that wrecked me, friends. When she listened to all of these recordings back to back, it turns out they sounded almost exactly the same. How wild is that? All of them, nearly identical. So, which is to say, that thing that she had been agonizing over, like the difference between a great show and a slightly less great show, that constant mental gymnastics of like, was tonight better or worse? Like, it didn't exist. It didn't exist. No one could hear it, including her. The recording couldn't capture it because the variation that she was kind of obsessing over was teeny. It was imperceptible. And it really just lived in her own head. Let me tell you something. I know exactly where I was when I heard this. I was literally about to take my dog into the forest. I was sitting in my car and I was just gobsmacked. I was just staring at the steering wheel. Because I don't know about you, but that can be me so often. And it's really like my overthinking in a nutshell, because I do spend so much energy trying to get things exactly right. Like A little nuance there, a little nuance there. The perfect email. Wait, should I put that comma there? Should I just ask someone what they think about it, right? Like the perfect episode of this podcast. Like, is that the reading we should use? Maybe we should use a different reading. Like, I don't know. Let me go look at that one. I'm telling you. And I feel pretty certain after listening to that story that the difference between my good enough and my perfect is probably invisible to everyone but me. And honestly, even if it isn't, I don't think people care that much, if I'm being honest. How do you like that one? So you had to bring Anne Lamott as our pocket sage today because she talks about this so beautifully in her book, Bird by Bird. Have you ever read that book? It's so good. And, Anne Lamott is one of those writers who just makes you feel like she is sitting across from you at the kitchen table. So I consider her a friend. And so here's what she writes about perfectionism. I love it. Perfectionism is the voice of the oppressor, the enemy of the people. It will keep you cramped and insane your whole life. I think perfectionism is based on the obsessive belief that if you can run carefully enough, hitting each stepping stone just right, you won't have to die. The truth is that you will die anyway, and that a lot of people who aren't even looking at their feet are going to do a whole lot better than you and have a lot more fun while they're doing it. Let me read that again for those of you in the back. Perfectionism is the voice of the oppressor, the enemy of the people. It will keep you cramped and insane your whole life. I think perfectionism is based on the obsessive belief that if you run carefully enough, hitting each stepping stone just right, you won't have to die. The truth is that you will die anyway, and that a lot of people who aren't even looking at their feet are going to do a whole lot better than you and have a lot more fun while they're doing it. Whew. I love so much of this reading, but what really gets me is the cramped and insane. So I don't know about you, but that's literally what perfectionism does to me. It shrinks my world. It makes everything feel urgent and high stakes. And when the actual stakes are, effectively 20 recordings that all sound the same. And so our word of the day today is trust. It's trust. And I really chose this word intentionally because I think that Ana Gasteyer story really reveals a trust problem. Like she didn't trust that she was great night after night. And she didn't trust that her preparation had done its job. She didn't trust that the version of her that showed up, even on an off night, was still extraordinary. And that's what perfectionism steals from us. It steals trust. It steals trust in ourselves, trust in our work, trust in the process on our spiritual podcast. It convinces us that we have to earn our own confidence fresh every single time, and that the evidence of yesterday doesn't count, and that we're only as good as our last performance. But here's a good one for us. What if we trusted that our good enough is actually remarkable? When I used to teach a spiritual fitness class called Intensati, I would say this to everybody. I'd have them mantra this with me. I commit to doing my best, and I commit to accepting that my best is good enough. How good is that? It's not just doing your best, it's accepting that your best is good enough, right? And so trust is not the absence of caring. It's the presence of faith that who you are is enough to meet the moment. Who you are is enough to meet the moment, probably more than enough to meet the moment if you're asking me. And listen, there's a particular kind of suffering that comes with trying to optimize something that's already working. And I think a lot of us live there. We're not struggling because we're failing. We're struggling because we refuse to accept that we're enough and that we're succeeding. And it sounds like Ana Gasteyer was given extraordinary performances, 8 shows a week, extraordinary, right? And she was making herself miserable trying to find a version of that performance that was marginally, imperceptibly better, right? The gap between her best and her worst was invisible to the naked ear. But in her mind, it was like, oh, what can I do better? What can I do better? And I don't know about you, but I do this, right? I do this so often. And I love that Anne Lamott calls that the voice of the oppressor because I think it's the most perfect phraseology there, right? Perfectionism isn't your highest self trying to help you get better. It's fear. And it's your fear kind of dressed up in a lab coat pretending to be useful. It's there with a clipboard and it says, okay, well, let's review this performance. And what it's really saying is, you're not safe unless everything is flawless. It's saying, you're not safe unless everything is flawless. But ascenders, we have to remember this. Like, flawless doesn't exist. And even if it did, you wouldn't recognize it because perfectionism moves the goalpost every single time. So you could deliver the single greatest performance of your career, and the perfectionist in you would find the one note that wavered. So here's what I'm going to start practicing. I don't know about you, and I think you should do it with me. Instead of asking, was that perfect? Or was that good? Or was that great? I'm going to start doing this. Do I trust myself? And instead of like incessantly reviewing the tape, I'm going to choose to believe that the version of me that showed up today was prepared and capable and was enough. I'm going to accept that my best is good enough. And certainly not because I'm done growing, but because Ana Gasteyer taught me that 20 recordings basically sound the same, right? And my best is good enough. And so is yours. So here's our reflective question for the day. What are you overthinking right now that's probably better than good enough? And listen, this perfectionism wrecks your relationship with food. It wrecks it. And in my Stop Starting Over system, we have a whole module on anti-perfection plan. And we help you to build trust with yourself around food so that you can stop like white knuckling this and start living. And so if that sounds like relief, I would love to talk to you. You know I would. So you can learn more at mollycarmel.com, or there's a direct link to book a phone call with me in the show notes. And I am right here with you, Ascenders, learning to trust the performance instead of grading it. And if this episode hit home, just send it to someone. I want to grow this Ascender crew because we rise together. Until next time.